Class is in session, this is the show where knowledge is profit, just so you know. Army Piper, OC guy, and Trade Fly, bringing crypto news to the whole alumni. It's the word on the market, the one-stop shop for the info you need every time that it drops. The go-to show that you need right now. This is Piper Academy, it's all going down, let's go.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Piper Academy. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about the SEC dropping the case against the ETH consensus and if it is or it is not a security. So we got that information. We're going to be looking at the chart to figure out if we hit that bottom or are we heading back up now. And we got special guest on today from Investing Bros, my boy T. Shroom in the house. All that and a whole lot more today on Piper Academy. Let's get it. Classes in session. Hey, what's up, everybody? Good morning and welcome to Piper Academy. We got closed markets today, so it's going to be a little bit quiet on the stock side of the world. But, you know, crypto, it never sleeps. And so that's why we here on Piper Academy are never sleeping either. We are always running at it. But I am not alone today. I don't have TradeFly. I don't have the beautiful face of TradeFly on here, but I do have OC Guy and this beautiful guy right here. It is my boy T. Shrew. What is up, man? How you doing?
Better than I deserve, Piper. How are you?
Of course you are. I can go ahead and take off the Investing Bros logo because you have the Investing Bros logo. You can can have too much Investing Bros, believe it or not. Just so you know.
I totally get it. How you doing, OC?
I'm doing fantastic. Very happy to hear about you. Long time since we don't talk to each other. But I'm pretty stoked to have you here on the show. How's it been? Tell me a little bit more about how's been your day? How's the show? How's everything? How's life?
Well, got up, put out some fires. There's always fires to be put out when you're in crypto, and let the dogs out. And yeah, actually, they're still out.
Well, now we know who let the dogs out, so there's at least that. So,
oh yeah,
very nice, very nice. But I did just get married, and I got back from my honeymoon. And,
I was getting ready to bring that up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful wedding, very smooth, and we got it done. Went to the courthouse and got all the paperwork and everything filled out, and I had no idea that process was so smooth. I figured it was going to be like a DMV type of situation, but it was very, very smooth, very simple.
No, weddings are easy.
Yeah.
Weddings are easy. Divorces are hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely don't want one of those.
Don't do one of those. Don't do one of those. I like Miss Shroom a lot. I think she's a fantastic person. We've had a little trip together. So me and Miss Piper and you and Miss Shroom. So it's fantastic person. Congratulations to you guys, man. And you guys sent some amazing pictures of your honeymoon in Colorado. So that was awesome. Yeah,
that's right. And whenever Tim goes on vacation, the market pumps. When I went on vacation this time, now we're asking, how low do we go? So
yeah,
very
I had to call Crux the other day and make sure that he hadn't left town. Like, you're still here, right? You haven't gone anywhere, because usually when he leaves, it dumps. So I had to find out. I had to make sure, but maybe it was you. It was the Shroom effect, not the Crux effect. So, hey. Investing Bros, I'm sure everyone here in the chat knows who they are, but you guys have been on fire lately, man. So congrats to you guys. What are you guys at now? You broke 20K, and I know you're like close to 25. Are you getting there?
23. Yeah, we just hit 23. That's Michael Jordan's number, right? That's why I remember it. So yeah, that's where we broke it last night.
Absolutely. That's amazing, dude. That's amazing. Congratulations to you guys over there. But
Thanks.
We have some news to break down ourselves today.
We do.
We're going to be getting into that. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. All the alumni in here. Love having you guys join us every day.
You know what I mean?
OC, how you been? What happened yesterday with, I'm sure you'll go over it in the charts, but what happened yesterday with some of those trade setups? Did they play out for you, or did you get touched in bad spots?
Oh man, those spots were very sweet. Let me tell you that. So yesterday we have a recuperation, especially on LDO. I was actually right now looking at through yesterday's video to see where did I call that entry. Cannot find it, but on LDO, man, I was saying, well, we have this alert being ringed 2 days ago. Right now we have that little drop to our support areas. Hopefully you guys have jumped in. I missed on that jumped in long, and I told you, well, there's another chance here if we break to this into this next pattern. Most likely, we're gonna hit the top of the pattern. I gave some circles, and right now, today, we're hitting those targets. So that has been amazing. I mean, everything is kind of like falling back in its place. And it's also, guys, just to show that if you miss a trade, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. You just need to retrieve, replan, and then execute. Remember, being constant and being that helps to be profitable, right? And also your patience. Being patient helps a lot while executing your plans. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And we're going to be looking at those charts here in just a minute. But first, let's go ahead and jump over into the news, guys. As you guys know, as always, the news is brought to you by Decrypted.tax there. Not sure how that camera gives that close up, but there we go. Guys, Fear and Greed Index sitting at 64. We dropped 10 points since yesterday. If you guys remember yesterday, we were at 74, and I said, look, we're still in greed. Maybe it's 73, but we're down to 64 now. So we are definitely cooling off on the Fear and Greed Index. Taking a look at the crypto bubbles here, guys, you can see on the daily, we are up green. On the hourly, still in the green. Nothing pulling back right now. Very quiet day. I'm going to show you on the economic calendar in a moment. So it's very quiet on the economic front. The macroeconomic reports are not flowing out today. And then the markets are closed for Juneteenth. So today, guys, crypto day. Everything is crypto day today. So FET up 23.8 there with Fetch AI. What else we got? Phantom's up 16.2. ENS is up 22.4%. AGIX up 20.5. Brett Coin, that meme token down there at 21.2. So some big movers here. Flare up 19.5. Looks like they're really trying to get a move back. Let's go down and take a look at the market caps on these. Bitcoin currently sitting at $65,000 right now, guys. Ethereum sitting at a little bit over $3,400. And let's see, what have we got? Big movers here. Avalanche has moved up a spot into number 11. Cardano sitting at the number 10 spot, and it is it's about $100 million off here, guys. But it is quite possible that if Cardano doesn't do something soon, they could be getting hurt by Avalanche's growth here. Avalanche up 6.2% today versus Cardano's 4.7%. So we might take a look at that chart in a little while. Near Protocol, though, jumping up 2 spots to number 20, and that will round out our top 20 there, with Litecoin being bumped up to number 20 or number 19 from that number 20 position there, guys. So that is what we have going on with the cryptos today. Let's look over here at the liquidations for Bitcoin, guys. In the past 24 hours, 49,543 traders will liquidate. Total liquidations coming in at $135.7 million. Largest single liquidation order happened on OKX. It was ETH USD swap. Just no big deal. Just a $3.4 million liquidation there. And then let's jump over here and take a look at what we have going on with let me quiet that there. I got a phone over here dinging that ain't supposed to be dinging. Let's take a look here at the economic calendar, guys. I told you guys, 8 a.m. Today, the housing market index. That is it. That's 8 a.m. my time here in about 19 minutes. That is all we have today. Tomorrow, though, we get building permits. That's going to give us an indication on how growth on homes and retail is going. And then we will get on Friday with a whole lot of composite PMI flashes coming in from the S&P and existing home sales. There's not much else going on today. This week, I should say, and we talked about this on Monday, there was not a lot of data coming out this week from the economic side, Fed side, and so it might be a good week for us to move up and get some action, which is what we have seen. Do have one article I want to bring up here before we go and talk about some other things, but this is an article came out this morning on You Today. It says the exact reason behind Bitcoin's drop is finally revealed. Bitcoin's drop was abrupt, but reasons for it is finally revealed, and it has to do with this thing called hedge funds, guys. Bitcoin's drop below $65,000 was clearly unexpected, and the reason behind it was quite shady, and determining what exactly caused it was complicated. However, we might have the answer. So let's see what the answer is here. Recently, cryptocurrency hedge funds have completely given up on Bitcoin throughout the previous 20 days. They have decreased their exposure to the Bitcoin market to just 0.37. Now, that's an important number to remember because it's one. A whole of one is what you guys really want to see on this chart. So this is the lowest level since October 2020. Anybody remember what happened in October 2020? They're going to talk about it here in a second, but just think back. I need the waves of, back in the day. The charts showing the price trend of Bitcoin from 2019 to 2024, emphasizing notable highs and lows. And if we get down here and look at what it says, the lower chart illustrates the rolling 1 month beta of global crypto hedge funds to Bitcoin, demonstrating the degree to which hedge fund performance is influenced by changes in the price of Bitcoin. And if we get down here, it says that their beta drop, their beta right now is 0.37, which we discussed. It indicates that the hedge funds are far less vulnerable to changes in the price of Bitcoin, meaning they've taken a bunch of exposure out of it. Normally, they do run about one. They may have been expecting more drops or volatility based on their withdrawal from Bitcoin, just like in 2020. There are a number of reasons for this cautious approach. Shifting internal investment strategies, macroeconomic conditions, which is very likely what it is, because we have a lot of those going on right now, or regulatory uncertainties. Since there has been less exposure, it's probably been more selling pressure on Bitcoin, which has pushed the price below that $65,000 mark. Given that the frequently have significant. Are we here? Are we here? Wow.
Not sure what happened there. Can you hear me?
I'm not sure what happened there either, but I think we're all back on and we are live. I've got it all coming up here. Okay.
Nice.
They could hear me, but you guys both fell off. I'm not sure what happened there. So we're back though. We're live. So did I get through the article? I believe I did.
Most of it.
Yeah. So really what's going on here, guys, these hedge funds, they started taking their profits, selling off. They thought that it was going lower, which it could still. We're going to be looking at that on the charts there. But bottom line is October 2020, for those that don't know, that was right before the parabolic pump in Bitcoin. That is the level of sell-off that they are at currently, that they were at on that chart, that 0.37 mark, when Bitcoin absolutely took off and left them all in the dust. So we'll have to go see if that's what happens this time again. But just wanted to bring that article up, and I apologize for that drop again. I don't know what happened. It's weird, so weird. Shroom, thoughts on that? Do you think that smart money, thinking that there's more downside? I mean, that's normally when we see Bitcoin do it's a miraculous things. It's when everybody has given up hope on it, and then it goes, "Aha, I got you," and then it takes off. What's your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the hopium is we put in an all-time high in 2024, right? Bitcoin is very likely to be going higher. The bull market is not over. However, in the short term, we're in this range, this sideways range that is a 20% swing.
I'm not sure what's going on, guys, but I think the SEC is trying to throw me out of here. They kicked me off. I am dropping everybody on the show today. Not a normal occurrence, but evidently the SEC seeing Gary Gensler on the thumbnail is not happy. So I don't know.
Yeah, did you do the eCam update, the recent one?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
this
may
is
be
what's
that.
coming.
Anyway,
This is what's coming for you on your next live stream.
Uh-oh. I hope not. But yeah, I think ultimately, I'm not sure how much went through in the broadcast here, but I'm not going to be surprised if we continue to remain sideways, between the range of, 73 and 58, and you could kind of condense that to 70 to 60, and we just continue range bound until a new buy thesis comes in. But Piper, OC, I've got some interesting news that may be the catalyst for that new push higher. We could get to that now. We can get to that in a few minutes. But ultimately, I'm not shocked if we get down below 50,000 for Bitcoin. I would be surprised because I feel the bottom is probably in closer to 58. But if we get down to 50, I'm still not selling. Selling is still not on my radar for a long time south of where we are now. But continuing to trade and range from 70,000 to 60,000 is really not all that unexpected. I think it's kind of par for the course where we are in the bull market right now.
Yeah, let's take a look at what you got, and let's we'll jump into that. So let's kick it over to your screen there and see what you're showing. So,
absolutely. So this is from Bitcoin Magazine yesterday. Justin, U.S. federal interest payments now exceed the entire defense budget. This is huge, and this isn't from some crazy website. This is from Fred. This is a .gov website that's generating this data. Daily Shot is what brought it to the attention here of Bitcoin Magazine. But this is, it's pretty plain. There's not a whole lot to speculate on here. Purple line has exceeded black line. Black line is the U.S. defense budget. Why is this important? Well, because Bitcoin is an alternative to the dollar. And the dollar here, the system that creates the integrity for the dollar is starting to come under serious question. You can go off my screen now. There are two major things that keep the dollar the world reserve currency. And the first thing is the fact that it already is one, right? And so you can infinitely print and kind of get away with it. The other thing is the military. The U.S. military is the best in the world. And if you can print infinitely, you can also print an infinitely stronger military and just convert those dollars into a stronger military again and again. Piper, you could potentially speak on that. But what this ends up creating is a positive feedback loop that is only stopped by inflation and by the people that govern the system. This could be something where American voters continue to slumber through and politicians continue to keep the lullabies coming and the distractions coming. But this flippening of the interest payments to national defense spending could be something that wakes up a tranche of Americans that say, whoa, this seems bad. Maybe I should get into euros. Maybe I should get into gold. Maybe I should get into Bitcoin. So this could be the latest in the bullish catalyst, kind of similar to the bank failures of 2023. If we are going to be able to break to the upside out of this sideways 70 to 60 range, it's going to need to be some kind of bullish catalyst like this. And you also have the short squeeze, or not the short squeeze. You have the Bitcoin mining supply shock that should be coming into play, but that could be as late as early fall. August, September. So that could be a ways off.
Some other factors on that too. We just recently, about a week and a half ago, I'm not sure if you're tracking this. We talked about it here in the academy though. Saudi Arabia just went off the petrodollar. They did not renew that agreement. And for those that don't know, this is how this all works. Let me break this down for you as simple as I can. So
break it down.
Our number one export in America is the Dixie, US dollars. Number one. We export all of our debt to the rest of the world. When our inflation gets a little high and we print a little too much money, we pump that money out through the petrodollar to the world. Do you know what is there more of? Let's see, little trivia quiz here. Useless trivia knowledge. Is there more $1 bills or $100 bills in the world?
But based on the fact you're asking the question, I might say $100 bills.
It is $100 bills. Do you know what percentage of $100 bills exist outside of the border of the United States?
85%.
It's 80%, but you're pretty darn close. Good job. T-Shroom, you're so smart. 80%. 80% of all $100 bills exist outside of the United States. That is us exporting our money out there for the petrodollar system, right? And that is where we put all of our debt. We push it out to other countries because to them, it's still money for oil, right? It doesn't affect the cost of goods inside our currency system. It's outside our currency system. That is problematic that Saudi Arabia has now stopped doing the petrodollar deal that they had with the United States, because that means that now the US dollar is, mind you, we still are the biggest user of, I think it was like 73% of all oil purchases are still being done on the US dollar without Saudi Arabia. It's still quite heavy. But it is the first chip, the first domino of a potential downfall of the U.S. dollar against its inflation rate. And so when you look at that at the end of the long term, the fact that we are now seeing our interest rates being so high, it may get really painful, because our dollar could be on the verge of weakening. Most likely not in my lifetime. It won't happen that quick because of how big it is, but it is definitely a sign that your children and your children's children might be having some issues with their valuation of their currency, and that's what Bitcoin fixes. So yeah, excellent point there, T-Shroom. OC, thoughts on this? You've lived through an economic currency collapse. What are your thoughts on this? Are you seeing any similar signs of what happened to Mexico with the U.S. dollar in America now?
Not really. I mean, that economic crisis was basically just Mexico not managing their finances, but to a point that it was very, I don't know, let's just say it, evident, right? At this point, we need to understand that Mexico at that point and now is not that of a big of an economy, talking about worldwide, as the U.S. dollar or United States is, right? So we're talking about global stability at this point, right? And as you mentioned, I mean, if a country doesn't no longer wants U.S. dollars, where are those U.S. dollars going to be flowing to? That might come back to the inflation that Tishum was talking about, right? So the more they print, the more they can expand. But where are they going to be allocating? The U.S. is going to be allocating those dollars. Right. I mean, guys, I mean, we are right here in Mexico, depending on the dollar, like absolutely. And something that Piper mentioned, it is that they export their debt. And for us, that is kind of like the way to go when we're talking about a global economy leader, because for them it's debt, and for us it's a hedge against our money, because the globe is just a big balance, right? I mean, we just need to understand that there's going to be we need to balance things out, either with fiat and goods, which is basically what's happening right now. But now what I do can see is a shift of global powers. Right now we see the red team take being holding a little more power. And I think that at this point, and as you mentioned, Piper, we should be looking after, at least for the blue team, to stabilize its currency and like show strength on their military.
Yep.
So I'm gonna be a little bit doubtful at this point to say that the U.S. has not handled things correctly, because in the past, this past year, over December, or even was it November last year, I was saying, you know what, they could be doing things better. But at the every single freaking time that we ate at the edge of the knife, we came out, or the US came out successfully and managed the economical crisis. So I'm gonna go and vote that they're doing things right, but it is right now a push of global powers. We should be seeing the other side push back also.
Yeah, I can see both sides there. I do want to point out, though, that this is an interesting article that I found this morning when T-Shroom was talking about that. I went and looked just to see, because, the reason we have to spend so much money is because we are the world's military. Really, our allies don't have near the size of military that we have. That's why we have such a big military, which is also what allows them to give out free college and free healthcare while we pay for military infrastructure, right? But a record number of NATO members reached defense spending goal as the Ukraine war persists. I just want to say, I'm not going to go down into the article too much, but I want to tell you guys, do you know what their percentage is for NATO? They're 2% of their gross domestic product, their GDP, that each nation has to put in for NATO. Do you know what it is?
The
I'd say
2%.
like
It's 2%.
something like that.
2%. But so, yeah, they all hit that record for the first time in a long time. I want to point out that they have not been able to put in 2% of their GDP for years prior. And it's coming at an odd time when it looks like Trump is gaining some momentum to come back as president, who was the biggest hater on the NATO and how much they were spending for the NATO agreement. Now they're, hey, look, we paid. It's almost like they're prepping just in case Trump walks back in the office and they're like, hey, we paid our tithe this year, guys. Come on now, be nice. I don't know. Might be coincidence, might not, but I do have another point that I want to bring up over here because we're talking about people looking at the dollar and the weakening of the dollar. Maybe Tether is onto something with this. I saw this came out this morning. Coin Bureau putting this out. The gold standard on blockchain, USDT issuer Tether has launched a new protocol that makes it possible to mint a gold-backed digital dollar on Tether. It's going to be pegged to gold. So that's pretty cool. It's going to be backed, I should say, but pegged to the US dollar, but backed completely by gold. So pretty interesting move there that they're making also. I might actually consider that for a good hedge at the end of the bull run if they have that launched and up and running and proven. I'll have Crux do a deep dive on it because that's what he does best. But then that might be where I plant some money at to sit and be protected and safe. So let's go ahead and jump into the Bitcoin chart today, guys. And then we will talk about what is going on there because we did have some action yesterday and we talked about this prior to it happening, that it needed to hold this 50% mark. Let's jump into the chart. There we go. We were talking yesterday that Bitcoin needed to hold, and I need to refresh the fixed range volume profile. There we go. Perfect. That it needed to hold this 50% mark. And because of that, if it didn't, we would likely be heading down to the golden pocket. Also, right there with that line, we do have that value area low coming in just above that golden pocket of the Fibonacci's there. That is pretty much what we did. We held that 50% mark, but now it looks like we've created a lower high and are starting to come back down. I still hold that 62.4 to 61.8 is the target that we're looking for here on Bitcoin. If we look at the daily, I got a couple of reasons for that. One, the value area low. Two, that we got that golden pocket. And three, that is where the daily dynamic reactor is coming in at right now. And it's coming in pretty strong. Matter of fact, let me just throw some moving averages on and see what's going on there. This is a moving average for the daily, guys. So we got the 100 moving averages where we just got our bounce. If we don't hold that, I'm going to call the dynamic reactor being better than a 100-day moving average. I'm just going to have to put that out there. I'm still thinking 62.4 is the target that we're heading for on Bitcoin. You can look here on the Oscillator Pro. It does look like we've got the goose head going on, reverse goose head. Typically, that it means a continuation, which would be that target down there. And we still have quite a ways that we can move down on the RSI Prime. You can see here it comes in about 8.17 on the bottom end. We're currently right now at about 26. So this still has a long way to move down, and this can still move down looking like it is doing that with that goose head going on there on the Oscillator Pro. So be watching, guys. Be watching for a continuation to the downside, especially with us setting a lower high. We can now be looking for a lower low to follow that, and that will be a continuation of bearish trend. Let's kick it over to OC, see what he's got there, and then TradeFly. The other handsome guy on the show today, Shroom. We'll see what you're seeing on the charts if you want to talk about that.
Absolutely. We looked at this yesterday. It was as clear as U.S. finances. We saw this coming. And I mean, it just was a future prediction here. No, just kidding, of course. That was yesterday's joke. I'm just recycling it. So let's take a look at Bitcoin here. Very clear. Still a mess. But this is, like when you show something worse and then the next thing doesn't look as bad. So we are basically right there on the areas that we were talking about, right? The next big area of support is going to be, for me, these two red arrows, which also pair with a big volume area right here, or big deficit area right here, right? So as Piper is mentioning on the daily, we can see that reversal goose head. And also right here, let me change of charts. There we go. This is what I am expecting based on these possible trends. Remember, I'm not there yet until we lose the 64 or the 63K areas, and we could be seeing a fast move or bearish move like that. So V-shaped recovery. That's what I'm expecting to see. Maybe something like that, or even faster, something between less candles that might be pushing upwards to that area. But so far, we are on support. If we start seeing that, we make a double bottoming here, all right, and then we start breaking this trend line that we have from this symmetrical triangle right here, and then bouncing from the loud order block, basically, and finding back support for me while we're breaking through the zero line to the upside. That's going to be my first big leverage entry on Bitcoin on those areas. Remember, I'm still DCAing on my separate wallets, and I do a dual investment plan, right? So I have two different allocation of money. One, I use it for long-term DCA, and then whatever it makes out of that, it goes for my savings. And then the other one is just pure leverage, right? And I do have two stable coins that I can open up two different positions separated from what to each other. So just so you know, pure transparency right here. Also, remember, we are below the zero line here, so we are still bearish. Do not forget about that, right? And we should be favoring shorts over longs at this point if you're looking at the 4-hour. But for me, I'm just going to be holding. I'm not ready to start shorting the market, not just yet, and we'll see how it plays out. So yeah, turning it back to you.
Awesome. T-Shroom, what are you seeing? Do you want to talk about anything? You got something on your charts there? Or
Sure. Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah, let's do that.
yeah, so just to crack open the charts a little bit here, I mean the one line that I'm watching here, like a hawk, is 64,008. This is one that I've talked about a lot in the past. That's kind of what I'm watching. You know, if we get down below that, that doesn't mean that I'm selling anything, right? It just means that a lot of investors may be discouraged from buying more, and we're probably going to head a little lower. But on the day out, that's on the 4-hour. Out on the daily, we haven't closed a candle below that level yet. So you know there's still quote unquote hope. But I wouldn't count your ducks before they roost, so to speak. This has already wicked. Bitcoin has already wicked lower than that 64.8, and likely will go ahead and trade lower because of all the bearish momentum that OC just pointed out and that Piper pointed out earlier. So I have a big Fibonacci drawn out. You can see the 0.78 and the 0.88. Who helped me draw this? It was Piper. And then I also have the golden pocket here, the 0.65 and the 0.618. Right, we did come back and tap this back at May 1st, beginning of the month. You guys will remember that very bearish time back then. Everybody wondering how low can we go? Well, look, we from those candle body closes to where we are now, we are 11% up from then. So if you'd bought then, you'd be doing quite well even now in this bearish, fearful market. Now, could we go back down and test that again? I think if you look at the overall structure of this price movement, it's kind of an open megaphone pattern here. I think it's possible. I don't think that there's a super strong reason why we couldn't come down and get back to these levels of 58 and test those bottoms. So that's all I've got really to show. And it kind of makes me think about that hedge fund article that you were talking about at the beginning of the hour, Piper, which is really interesting because the hedge funds, what do they do? What do they do best? Is they catch the market by surprise. Is they get a bunch of liquidity on one side of the market that the rest of the retail and non-hedge fund traders don't really know about, and then all of a sudden it becomes clear. The information hits the market becomes educated, and then the market has to reprice the asset. They've not even been able to get it below 60, realistically below 65,000, right? We had a wick down yesterday, but we haven't had a close below 65,000. That's weak sauce from the from the hedge funds, right? And so after this maneuver that they've pulled off here, there is an argument intact that there's not a whole lot of bearish sentiment anymore. There's not a big bearish move that can happen from here. So there is a possibility that we don't move any lower, and that the momentum oscillators are really just kind of showing the result of this manipulated move from hedge funds. But there's also a chance that there is more than one bearish force going on, and it's not just the hedge funds. It could also be just generally macro liquidity is kind of waned. And as the Federal Reserve has signaled that it isn't likely to be having more cuts in 2024, having any cuts in 2024, and that the markets are going to have to wait longer. So there's multiple bearish forces, but perhaps the short to midterm force of the hedge funds kind of navigating the markets and manipulating the markets in this way that they have could be coming to an end, and we could be seeing a reversal soon. So that's kind of my read on it. Those are some levels. I really like that 64.8 level, and we haven't penetrated. We've penetrated through it on the 4 hour, but we haven't been able to close lower than that Bitcoin on the daily. So I'll be watching for that. Right now, we're comfortably above it, but I could easily see that getting back down below.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing that I do want to show everybody. I've got this weekly chart up, and I put the candlesticks onto a line, and I want you guys to look at this. What's happened here, because there's a story being told. Looking here from our lower levels, we come up. There's a little shakeout, and everyone goes, "It's going back down." Right? This is sitting here like January, right after that Bitcoin ETF launch, and everyone's like, "That's it. It was a sell the news. It's going down lower." And then we come up and we get this pullback here, right? And you got people that sold as it came down this far, because really, in reality, from that top peak to that level, guys, that was about a 13 to 14% drop, and that's a pretty significant hit for someone new coming into crypto, thinking, hey, I'm going to make some money, and all of a sudden they're watching their money disappear. Now, if you've been in crypto for a while, we know 13%, that's child play. But I do want to show you guys a little thing that was put out here. This came from Sensei, BR_BTC, and he talks about this level here. And you guys can see it comes up. There we go. It comes up. We have the shakeout, which is very similar to what we saw right. Nope, not that. Thank you. Right there. This is that shakeout area right there. And then we come back in and we move up. Renewed optimism, FOMO, euphoria. That's all-time high break, pullback, bull trap. Guys, sorry, I did the wrong one. We're not there yet. That's where we're heading. We come up, momentum building, first sentiment, right? We break the all-time high, bear trap right there. And this is where I am looking at, and where Sensei thinks that we are, because this section here is literally mirroring the first shakeout, then the bear trap. We could be getting to the point now where this sell-off that happened right here, and everyone got out of it thinking it's going lower. And we're sitting here looking at that also, guys. That bottom level is 61,400. So if we don't get back down to that level, anyone that sold here is buying back at a higher amount. And that's what we've seen in previous cycles. So I just wanted to bring that up in comparison with this bear trap, looking like the first shakeout, momentum build up, all-time high hit, bear trap, people sell off. That'd be right here's the shakeout. There's the sentiment. There's the sell-off, and that is a bear trap that we could be looking at right now. So very possible. Just, give you guys some hopium with the hedge fund thing, looking at the time period of when that happened. That was in October of 2020. Right after that, everyone got trapped in that down there, and that was it for them. They had to buy back at a higher amount. Could very possibly be what we see here, especially if we go down, we hit that dynamic reactor on the daily, hit that golden pocket that we talked about, and then shoot back up, never returning back to that lower level that happened there at the beginning of May, where we hit that bottom of the golden pocket. So people could be getting stuck in a horrible bear trap right now. So thoughts on that poorly laid out chart that I had to recant my statement on that T-shirt. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, no, I really like that. I really like that. I always like to look at the charts that kind of correlate emotion and sentiment to a general price pattern, price structure. Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly where we are right now. I think that's is kind of this down and sideways movement that to someone who's just getting in to Bitcoin, maybe coming from the stock market or maybe coming from meme coin trading, or getting into trading and investing for the very first time, you can kind of see how someone in that boat would be very troubled by this, and then they start thinking, wait, well, what even is Bitcoin? If they don't have a good question, a good answer to that, then they might capitulate, they might sell, right? But if you have a good answer to the question, why am I invested in Bitcoin, right? Coupled with the experience of seeing and even not even necessarily experiencing multiple bear and bull markets, but just going back and studying them and listening to people who have experienced them, then you have a lot more fortitude in those strong hands that are able to hodl, right? And
Absolutely.
if you don't have a good answer to the question, why are you invested in Bitcoin, right? And you have more invested than you can afford to lose, you're in a very dangerous situation that you don't even realize, right? And you probably need to sell, right? But for the rest of us who understand why we're invested in Bitcoin and we're not over invested, right? If we lost it all, we could still pay rent this month and next. You're in a great situation, right? And it's just patience. It's just patience every day and reminding yourself, why are you invested? And when you see headlines like the US interest payments exceeding national defense spending, right? That's just another tick on the pros of holding Bitcoin.
Absolutely. That is so true, man. That is a very, very valid point. Just wanted to show we are looking, while the markets look a lot like 2016's Bitcoin chart, it really does. We're now starting to see some similarities between 2020's also, and that hedge fund indicator definitely was giving us that's 2020 vibe. So I think that at this point it's just a matter of dollar cost averaging, like we've talked about all week long this week, guys. These are your opportunities. If you're selling right now, then you're probably not in this for the right reason, because really what you should be doing is thinking long term, 2026, 2020, 2030, so on and so forth. So it's really that's the game, that's how it's played. I want to give a couple of shout outs here in the chat. We've got Lunar Beaches Crypto in here, LBC in the house. We got Amy Lives Crypto, and I saw FD White in here. Came to see his boys. I love FD White. He's out traveling the world, man. And Trade Intuition. I sent you a DM on Twitter. We're trying to get you on the show for next week, so hit me up. Guys, if you don't know, today at noon, it is going to be, I think it's at noon today. Let me know in the chat there, Amy Lives Crypto. But today, Amy Lives Crypto is going to be a special guest over on, let me think, Brad. Not Trade Intuition. It's Brad from Infinite Crypto. Thank you. There it is. She's going to be on that show today. So make sure you guys get over there and watch her today. If you don't follow her, any of those people I just said, you should, because they're amazing people and they all got great shows. So OC, let's jump into your chart. Let's look at some of your trade setups you had yesterday, because we've got about 15 minutes. So go ahead and do a couple of those, and I'm going to pull up what I'm watching. I've been looking at Link, and I want to show what's going on with Link, and then we will bring it back to T-Shroom to finish out the show with it. So
absolutely. Just because I'm right here, remember that we were looking at a huge cup and handle on Bitcoin. It's not about the breakout, it's about the retest. We are very close to my entry points. We're in those lines. So the upcoming next trade setup, it's what we've been talking about for the first 45 minutes of the show, which is where do we buy or where do we enter Bitcoin, right? Just for the upcoming future, that we're not that far away. Remember that between those lines in the dynamic reactor, as we have flipped the ribbon, with all of those three things, I'm going to be jumping in for a leverage entry on Bitcoin for the LDO trade that we were looking at yesterday. At this point, you can take a look at what is it, 1 hour 08 minutes on yesterday's show. We were talking about a breakout here that we had an alert. If we go to the alert system right here, we can take a look at LDO, where it hit it June 17 and then June 18. Not only that, I believe it was later. No, those two, right? So we have the breakout, then going to the previous support area. We had a beautiful reversal. Remember, I was expecting a flip of the ribbon. We did have that flip of the ribbon. We had a breakout, and then also a breakout out of within that same pattern. So I was expecting to hit the top of the pattern. Not only that, look at that. We hit it perfectly right at the high order block, right our top of that trend line that we have going on there. and then now we are reversing. So what is up now? Let me just clear this up so we have it clear in view. It seems like we're having a little bit of a goose head. We need to wait a little bit more until we have the peak going on. Usually that goose head gives us a secondary chance for previous highs, like in here, usually goes a little bit higher, right? But as long as we don't lose this predictive range line at 226, we are fine. And we are going to be going back to these areas right here. It could be very quick. It could be very snappy. Be careful. I would not be playing the goose head at this point because could be playing out against you because of Bitcoin. Bitcoin, we're expecting to do a quick pullback down, at least on my charts. So the other one that we're looking at, it's DOT, basically going to the neckline and bouncing from it. We are below the zero line still, so I will not be engaging any trades so far. But look at that beautiful movement right there to our previous neckline. And what are we waiting for? Just bullish confirmation. This is a huge head and shoulders. So missing the very first part of it, I would not be desperate over that itty bitty part when we could be having the next movement. And if we take a look at where we have our, next area of support is right here. So, of resistance, it's right there. And we could be having a nice run up with less of a risk of around no leverage 29. So if you're using a 10x leverage, that will be almost a 300%. So just food for thought. Try to stay on the safe side for trading and do your stop loss. Trade it back to you guys.
Awesome. I'm going to jump over here, take a look at Ethereum, guys, because we had this article that came in that I want to show you first. Let me bring that up here. There it is, guys. If you don't know, yesterday, the SEC permanently suspends their investigation into Ethereum. Taking a look here at the actual document that came from the SEC. This is from the Division of Enforcement of the SEC here. This is to Mr. Schwartz. Schwartz is he is the attorney at law that was handling the consensus lawsuit against the SEC. He says, we are in receipt of your letter dated June 7, 2024, hereby called the June 4 letter. We write to provide you notice that we have concluded the investigation in the above referenced matter, which is what the matter of Ethereum 2.0 being a security or not, since they went to proof of stake. While we do not, with this notice or otherwise, agree with the factual statements or legal conclusions set forth in the letter, based on the information we have as of this date, we do not intend to recommend an enforcement action by the Commission against your client, Consensus Software, Inc., with respect to this investigation. We are providing this notice under the guidelines set out in the blah, 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 SEC regulatory garb here. But guys, they pretty much suspended the case. And what I want to show you guys here on this is, if I go to my bookmarks here, X marks the spot. Nope, that is not it. There we go, bookmarks, and go into here. I will show you guys one of the things that I'm watching, because an interesting part that they put on here is, this just confuses me. I'm not sure how this works, but it says in the thing that they suspended the investigation. I don't see it real fast here, but I'll talk about it. It says they suspended the investigation permanently. I'm not sure how you can suspend something and make it permanent. Suspension, that sounds to me like we could come back at a later time to say, we suspended it permanently, but now we're going to open a new case because we got some more ammo against all of your counterpoints that you put in your June 4th letter. The wording that they use, words have meaning. Those little squiggly characters, they're letters form words, words have meaning. That whole spiel, guys. Permanently suspending something is like saying that North Korea is no longer at war with South Korea because we have a ceasefire that's been going on for 70 years. It's that's what permanently suspended is. T-Shroom, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. That choice of wording, permanently suspended. Do you think that the SEC is just putting this on the shelf for now until they can get some more ammo to come back at ETH later on?
Yes. I think that's exactly what it is.
Perfect answer. I love it. Simple, concise.
Yeah. When I was in school, a permanent suspension was called an expulsion. right? And that's obviously nobody's getting expelled here, but it is a little bit of an oxymoron to say permanent suspension. Price isn't really. I mean, I guess price is reacting to it. A lot of altcoins are kind of bouncing back. And it kind of reminds folks, hey, we have a pretty bullish catalyst for altcoins coming in September, or I think it was actually the first week, July 3rd, I think it is that the ETF will go live for Ethereum. That
Yep.
could be bullish, I should say. It's definitely not guaranteed to be bullish for altcoins, right? But Ethereum spot ETFs being traded on the New York Stock Exchange, being traded as ETFs, certainly validates altcoins. Ethereum is an altcoin after all. So, sometimes it feels like it's kind of in the same boat as Bitcoin, but it's not. It is an altcoin. It's an alternative to Bitcoin. So that is going to legitimize things quite a bit, and then you run the clock out, 6 months from July 3rd, whenever the spot ETF for Ethereum has been trading for like 6 months, and traders are used to Ethereum. They've done research. They've read 3 or 4 reports on what Ethereum actually is. They're not just trading the volatility. They might be inclined to take a look at Ondo or Pendle, right? Or maybe even, AGIX or ENS or something like this, and take a
Yep.
look at some altcoins, perhaps Polkadot or Uniswap. And that's when Wall Street may start to wake up to altcoins, and there be like kind of a kickoff of an altcoin season, and that would make sense because I think an altcoin season probably comes in at earliest late summer, and but probably towards the the later half of Q4 of 2024. So that would tend to coincide with Ethereum's spot ETF being well trafficked across the Nasdaq and the New York Stock Exchange, and just Wall Street getting used to that name, again, being well educated on what Ethereum and what altcoins are, because right now the big money, they're liking what they see with Bitcoin. They understand Bitcoin more and more every day, but Ethereum is still very much not on their radar, right? They're still trying, because you have to remember, they're still trying to get their head around a lot of other narratives. And so thinking about altcoins is just not on Wall Street's radar, but it needs to be, because that's where the big money to push these altcoins into the multiple billions, to add another digit to the market cap. That's where that liquidity is going to come from. And that will push the prices higher, and it'll bring in retail through FOMO, right? But that's going to be a little bit of a later stage. Initially, there does need to be, because of how big the market caps are now, and the multiplicative effect that needs to take place in order for those market caps to really see significant movement higher. It's going to have to be Wall Street and other big pockets of liquidity, and there needs to be that education. The spot ETF, I think, will provide that education, the impetus, the necessity for that education.
We actually talked yesterday that there may not be near as much money that moves into that Ethereum ETF, though, like there was with the Bitcoin ETF, because of the lack of staking. The SEC made everyone take that out, and that not being able to earn off of your Ethereum. Smart money likes their money to earn money. So,
yeah.
So
I think the spot ETFs are dead on arrival in some sense, but that doesn't mean Ethereum is dead on arrival. I think Ethereum will get bought, but the ETFs are going to be disappointed / will have to probably amend how they're structured so that they can do staking, right?
Yep.
And basically return a dividend to holders of the ETFs. But that's just the clash of the TradFi and the DeFi world coming together. They're not compatible, but we're trying to make, Wall Street and BlackRock are trying to make them compatible. And this is one of those things where the rubber's going to hit the road. And maybe it's not solved in the US. Maybe it's solved in Singapore or Hong Kong before it's solved in the US or Dubai. I think that's probably the case. But the reality is like, you can just go buy Ethereum with Coinbase and stake it. Like it's as easy.
Just go buy Coinbase.
and
Just go buy that Ethereum. Yeah.
There's already institutional custody options if you want to get Ethereum. The important part of the spot ETF for Ethereum is education. Is Wall Street being forced to look at, you see the meme with the toothpick eye, holding open the eyes. They're forced to educate themselves on Ethereum. Like, hey, why am I seeing an Ethereum spot ETF ticker? The Gary Gensler approved this. BlackRock's behind it. Like, Fidelity's behind it. Okay, I guess we have to look into this. get one of the interns to give me a report by Tuesday on this. I want to see what the heck this is all about. And then, probably 80% of people who actually get educated on Wall Street are like, this is complete crap. I don't care about this. But then there's 20% that are like, whoa, this is the future. What are altcoins? And that's when, there's the magic starts to happen.
Absolutely. It was Watcher Guru that put that out. He said, permanently suspend its investigation into Ethereum. And that was a headline from an SEC source that he used there. So Watcher Guru just copies and pastes those in. So yeah. But I do say the reason that I put on the thumbnail, ETH ETF soon, ? It is a very oddly timed sudden drop of the case with us coming up on that deadline for the ETH ETF approval. So I don't know. Maybe we will see that occur because that's what this was a precursor of. So let's go ahead and jump up the chart, take a look at that, and see what we're seeing here on Ethereum, guys. Looking at the 4-hour here, load that fixed range volume profile. We did get a movement here, and we are rejected off of, and I pulled these fibs off of the high to low from this high to this low. We did get a perfect rejection on the local time frame off of that platinum pocket, and then we've had multiple rejections here of resistance on that golden pocket, not even quite making it up there. And Ethereum seeing what everything else is seeing right now, a lower high off of yesterday's little pump. Also getting on the 4-hour perfect wick rejection off that dynamic reactor there too. So one thing I am watching, this dash red line here, that is the point of control of this fixed range volume profile running all the way across here. We do have that point of control as support, but then we have the 0.5. And if we hold that 0.5, I'm going to be feeling a lot better. But as of right now, guys, if Bitcoin is going to do one more pullback, I would be watching for us to come down to this volume node here and be looking somewhere in that range of about $3,350 to $3,300 for Ethereum, especially when we look over here at the Ethereum oscillator on the 4-hour. We are starting to get a little curvature there on that zero line of the Oscillator Pro, and you can look at RSI Prime there, getting a nice flat top and smaller candles typically indicates another downside move. So be watching for Ethereum coming down to that $3,350 range there, man. That is it. That's the end of the show. That is Ethereum. That is the SEC knowledge put out there. That is the bear trap indicator put out there to the world. OC's little trade setup, and the beautiful face of Shroom dropping some knowledge with us today. What's up, man? I'm glad to have you on the show, and I hope that you come back and join us again soon. Do you got anything for all these beautiful people of the alumni before you head out of here, man?
I'd just say, you're invested in crypto. You've made a great investment. Make another one, right? Make another one. Get yourself a grip strength trainer so that you can have diamond hands like your boys here on Piper Academy.
Diamond hands, and man. Yeah, absolutely. And hey, guys, check out all the links down below. I fixed the link. C90, I fixed his link for Twitter. So now you should be able to go in there and click that. But go follow Shroom on X, follow Shroom over on Investing Bros. If you guys are not part of that 23,000 subscriber count that's building up over there and barreling through the numbers, you are missing out. It's it's an honor to have Shroom of the Investing Bros here on the show with us, because you guys are doing something right over there, man. So
yeah. Well, it's been a lot of fun, and I look forward to coming on again soon.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll have you on anytime you want. Anytime you want. The morning show is always open to you, man. OC, what do you got for the people? Tell them what they win if they hit the like button today.
Absolutely, guys. Just a quick reference. Grab your hatchets and smash that like button, because if you do, love will come to your relationship and will grow as much as this guy right here. So congratulations, Shroom. Very happy for you. Really, 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 from the bottom of my heart, really happy, guys. Smash that like button and see the love grow. So other than that, turn it back to you guys.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man. Guys, thanks for joining us today on Piper Academy. We'll be back here tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you guys the news, the charts, and the markets, and everything you need to have knowledge, because knowledge is profit. Until then, trade safe, and as always, use a stop loss.
I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper. the wheels fall off. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul, train ready. What a line from OCI, form a Mexican spaghetti. Yo, crunch crypto with a deep dive to project dime. And if you like the visual powered by Car Prime, then you were part of that alumni, that's all spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling out the wheels fall off. Sound off.
To get with them, the ZTS rhythm. Rip it, Alexandra.
Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean?
That was awesome, dude!